Welcome, everybody, to AI for the Average Joe, episode 10 of season 2. Can you believe it? We are at the end of season 2, and we've had some amazing guests join us. It's just me today, Erica from Quantum Rise. Hayley is on leave, but I have more than enough company today in the form of Andy Headworth, who I'm going to hand over to slightly in a few minutes. But just before we get going into this really interesting conversation that Andy's going to share with us, just a big thank you to everybody who's engaged with AI for the Average Joe over the last 18 months. We've had lots of great comments and people watching the podcast show. We're not sure if we're going to do season 3 yet. Let us know what you think. But let's move on to today's fabulous guest. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Hi, Erica, and nice to be here. And yes, you have to do series 3. I'll get on that quick before everyone else does. So don't stop giving it out. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, hopefully we get some more of the same commentary as well. And we've had some fabulous guests like yourself. So Andy, we met I think on a AI at Work LinkedIn webinar, perhaps slightly before, just prepping for that, maybe a couple of months ago now. And I just really hooked on to some of the stuff that you were saying, because it was really aligned to what we do on AI for the Average Joe around getting people engaged in using generative AI. And you're in the recruitment and talent acquisition space. So really interested for you to share some of the strategies and tactics that you've been using at HMRC to get people really interested and involved, really. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, of course I can. I'll just do a quick intro who I
Please.
am. So you've already given it away a little bit. Talent Acquisition Director at HMRC. So I look after responsible for all the recruitment and the talent acquisition. I've been there now 8 years. And before that, I had my own business for 14 and was very much involved in the whole social evolution with a couple of books on social media recruiting. So my background is all around the innovation, all around how do we do things differently with technology, with products that have people attached to them or people engagement. So um, AI, we all know now, AI changed the world in, I'll never get that date right, but anyway, that November when it happened a couple of years ago. Um, and I straight away straight away that Christmas I was playing with it like you were, no doubt, Erica, and like a lot of other people being early innovators. And it's like, so by the, I guess, post Christmas into the new year, it was like, okay, so this is going to be a massive thing. It's going to be the same. It's going to be bigger and quicker than social ever did. So how do we use it? So the first thing I always do is how can I use this in talent acquisition? How can it help candidates, recruiters, hiring managers? How can it make things easier? So I was playing around with it as AI and as OpenAI started finding its feet in that first 4 or 5 months, and you'll know as the things change literally every week, and you learn a new tool here, another tool, and then by about the summer, we've got it's got in my brain, right, I sort of can see where this is going, ish, as much as anyone can. Right now, we need to make this a little bit more. How can this benefit HMRC? So start with the basic things, my team. So how do I get my team involved? Because they're going to be the ones that go out, doing the stuff and using it. So we just put an hour aside every Thursday. This is about July, I think we started doing it, and just said, right, every Thursday it's this new shiny tool. Come along and play. We'll look at new tools, we'll look at different things, we'll look at how to prompt and etc. So my team is about, at that time was about 60. And the first few weeks we'd get about 10, 12, 13, got up to about 15 of the team coming along. Some of them generally were still not interested and really didn't care. But
Yeah.
the ones that coming along were the early innovators and were learning how to prompt. And that's how we started it. But the big turning point for my team happened about 6 weeks later. In the meantime, when I started getting my team together, I started putting some presentations together. So then I was becoming the AI person in the CPO function. So I was doing presentations in different groups. And really, it was just an evangelistic approach. This is what it is. This is what it can do. This is how, as a new tool, it's going to change your world. What we need to do is this. And every presentation had to change because it was moving so fast. So you give someone a deck like 1 week, and then the week after that it's changed. You have to do another one. So anyway,
Yeah.
and then by about so I kept on doing this, and we did this through CPO, and then a couple of other government departments found out about it, and I did a couple of those. So I did. I won't go into the jargon in the civil service, but a couple of other areas across the civil service were really interested. And then the turning point in our team came when it was when DALL-E 3 came out. So it was August, September, about last year. Pictures. That was the key. Pictures.
Isn't that interesting?
So what we said was, right, so bear in mind, 20, 15, 12, 15 people. I said, right, let's have a competition next week. So we're in the middle of this session. So let's just make some pictures and have some fun. So during the session, I said, right, next week, we're going to start a series of competitions. There's going to be 2 pictures you can choose. You can either have a cat's, these are this is like random
Yeah,
mentals here. You
yeah.
can have a cat's birthday party, right? Or, or recruiters in the wild. That was it. And so we were playing with it in the rest of that session just to give it. We were having, we were getting lions with 5 legs. At that
Yeah,
stage that how it was with AI then. We were getting
yeah.
random things
Couldn't
being added,
quite
like
get it right,
extra
can it?
arms. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
like now. Anyway,
yeah.
so we had that competition. Word got round. The following week, we had 30 people turn up,
Amazing.
bringing their pictures in, and then we had a whole series. So that was the first week, and we chose the winner, and I can happily share with you the pictures afterwards that won it for that first
Yeah,
week.
great. I'm sure people would be
Um,
really interested to see that.
Yeah, because one of them was quite amazing. Jash managed to get in The Simpsons, which is not allowed, but he managed to get I don't know how he did it, in an AI picture. Very clever anyway. So he won the first week. And then we did something radical. I said, right, so I'm going to go a bit crazy here. And for any of you that want to try this one, have a go, because we still haven't cracked it. Right? The brief was create like a chessboard, 12 by 12 chessboard, but snakes and ladders board, numbered 1 to 144 or 1 to whatever, but numbered consistently through the squares, snakes and ladders of your own design,
Oh,
whatever you
wow.
want to do. And every single one of us failed.
Oh,
But,
okay.
but
That's
what that did,
interesting.
but what that did, at that stage you couldn't get the numbers. It didn't like
Mm,
numbers, and
hmm.
trying to get numbers on the board, it didn't
And
work.
this was still using DALL-E, was it?
Well, I was using DALL-E 3. Others were using
Yeah.
the Microsoft Image Generator and other tools.
Okay.
So some
Yeah.
people were using Midjourney,
Yes.
Leonardo, all the main tools at that stage. There's a lot more now. But
Yeah.
what that did do, and that was one of the turning points, was it got each of them talking to each of them. What prompt? What are you using? How are you using that? And we had a backstory going on for the whole of that week about I can't do it. It's impossible. And then so they were sharing prompts between each other to try and help each other do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was a real
Love it.
that was a moment you can see the collaboration came in, which is what I was really trying to get to. And that was it. And we got to the end, we got to the following Friday, and not one of us got even close, not one, because of the numbering. We could get the board
Yeah.
and we could do snakes and ladders. And then we've done various things from there. We did another one about building a product. We build your superhero at work. What would your superhero be? So create your superhero.
Yeah.
And then the next week was okay, build a product. It's got to sit in a box. So design the box that's going on the shelf. So again, another challenge. Then build a marketing strategy around it, and then build a radio advert.
Almost like The
That was when
Apprentice,
audio
isn't
came
it?
out.
I love
Every
it.
week you're doing a different AI skill. You're learning something. You're
Yeah.
learning different tools. And at the end of that, we're like, okay, now we can get on to work stuff. Now I've got you
Yeah.
hooked, and then we now start looking at work stuff every week. And every week it might be a different challenge. It might be tools. I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
we did last week. And we average we're back to about the 15, 16. They're the core. But what we have got now is people in my team that now use it every day. They use it for, and of course, we've looked at job adverts. We've looked at,
Hmm.
CVs. We've looked at LinkedIn messaging. We've looked at Twitter messaging. We've looked at sourcing strings, Boolean strings, how to build them, all those things from a work perspective. And now these people are using it. Not
Yeah.
everybody, but a lot of them are using it. In their day-to-day work. So it's
Yeah.
been quite an interesting journey to get people to that point.
And I just love the hearts and minds, the curiosity, the creativity, and you're not bringing in, a 12-week L&D program or a learning function to do this.
God
As a
no.
leader, you're just getting in and saying, let's have a go, let's see what happens, which
Yeah.
totally aligns to our messaging as well. What always inspires me, Andy, when I hear you talk is the fact that you're in the civil service doing this stuff, which is probably not really the type of organization people would expect this kind of
No.
experimentation to be happening in. So what kind of pushback did you get? Or am I just being a bit kind of maybe biased around government departments?
So let's be really clear. I was going to say LinkedIn then. HMRC have been using AI automation for about 4 or 5 years. So we've been building tools. So AI in the background has been here. Generative AI, I'll just be really clear. So the Gen AI stuff. So I've just gone and cracked on and done it. I'm never waiting for permission. I'm just going to get on and do it. I've used publicly available data, so there's no, because we're not allowed to put data in there, obviously,
Uh-huh.
or personal details. So um, I checked very early on with our head of AI to be really clear that they were happy. So I'd done it first and then
Yeah.
checked that they
Yeah.
were okay. That's the important part there. They
Well,
loved
it's
it.
seek forgiveness, not permission, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I love
So,
it.
so Wayne was very happy with it, and he said he loves the idea of the fact we're doing what we're doing and everything else.
Mhm.
And as an organisation, at some point, we'll be subsumed into a much bigger. But for the moment, they are liking the fact that we're getting people interested, we're getting people
Good.
using
They
it.
get it.
We
They get it,
we
don't
will,
they? That's so
yeah.
important.
And then so the other part of it, I mean, that's the fun part. The serious part, although it's still fun, the serious part that we developed. So from about the August time, it was like, okay, right, we've got a team now. We've got a group of people coming together every week. How or what could we do? So we broke up the recruitment process into a number of chunks, and so then we looked at them and went, okay, so AI make the big difference to? What could we build that would really make a difference? And so we zoomed straight in first of all on hiring managers. Well, we did two hiring managers and then location-based insights. So
Was
hiring
that the
manager,
biggest pain points? Is that the reason why you went for
that,
that?
well, the hiring manager, yes, because everybody knows hiring managers is the area where everyone focuses. But we could make the most improvement, whether it's
Hmm.
quality, time. They don't like recruitment, so what could we do for
Hmm.
them to take their pain away, which is the
Rather
big
than
thing
just keep
to do.
putting them through interview
Yeah,
training or whatever it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we've got, you've got, man, we got up to sort of 8, 9, 10,000 hiring managers you could hire every year. Some of them only hire once or twice a year, some hire hundreds, if not more. So for those people so as an organization that's hiring manager led and they do their own recruitment, I
Hmm.
want to take their pain away, which is the real goal. So we built a tool. Um, to be really clear, these are two people in my team. They are not developers, and that's the thing I want to stress here. They are just normal people that just got enthused with it. They found their passion for doing this.
Love that.
So first of all, we built this with the GPTs that came out. So some of you remember back in the summer, late summer, ChatGPT brought out these things where you could build your own little app.
That's
So we
right.
started on them. We did move on to Mind Studio, which is a much more still simple, but a standalone product. But the product is basically to help a hiring manager. So all you now have to do is you've got the tool, you put your job title in, it comes back and says what grade in civil service, and then it then starts to work through and produce the answer. It starts with 6 different job titles that you might like to consider if you're searching or you're sourcing or you're thinking of other people that you might want to approach. Then
So
it gives you a
it's been
full,
trained on your data internally to be
yeah,
able to do this, right? Okay.
yeah. So we just fed it basically. So what we have fed it is like hundreds of job descriptions that we posted online.
Okay.
We've fed it our career site, our EVP, writings that we have done within our marketing team, so tone of voice. We've then put all the civil service guidelines in there, the commissioner's guidelines. We use a behavioural profile tool called Success Profiles. So we fed it all success profiles as well. So we
So
have fed.
content you've already got. Sorry to jump in. Content you've
No,
already got.
sorry,
You haven't had to go and build new content to
no,
do this, which is the key,
no, no.
really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just take what's there, put it
Hmm.
into the large language model, which we just created, and then this thing will work on top of it. And so you get your full job description. Then comes a job advert for a job board. Then comes out a LinkedIn advert, if you want to post it in your LinkedIn profile, and a social media profile advert. Then we
Yeah.
come down to things like interview questions and then secondary detailed interview questions. It then recommends the behaviors that you should be interviewing for based on success profiles.
Nice.
Then it gives you the hashtags. It then gives you social media outreach messages that you can engage with people on LinkedIn with if you find them, and other things. And then once you've got that, you open it up into effectively a Google Doc, and every aspect that's in there, you can then use AI to improve, change, amend. So you end up, if you want to customize it or you want to add some stuff in, it will continue helping you to write that until you finish that. And you just literally then download your PDF, and you've got
Lovely.
everything on there. And all a hiring manager has to do then is worry about dates for the interviews and dates when they can sift and select the CVs before that.
Yep.
And that's it. They don't have to worry about anything else. They can literally just go, fantastic, done. Um, so that's being tested with hiring managers at the moment,
Yep.
which is good. So that's really interesting. And you talk about the civil service, you're completely correct. No one else is doing this.
Yep.
We know from LinkedIn friends, don't we, that they've told us that there is no one else doing this in the private sector. And I know across the civil service, again, we're the only people that have actually done stuff to help people rather than just talk about it. So we've been doing across the whole of cabinet office and
Yep.
different departments, and have generated a lot of interest in it. So
I bet.
but yeah, but again, but there's no data in there, there's no private stuff. And to my message to all of you listening or watching, don't wait for people to do it. Go and do it yourself. There isn't anything that we've done that is radically crazy. We've just picked a tool off the shelf. All right, we're paying $20 for it, and then we've just gone off and built it. And we've just, right, what's the problem we're solving? How can AI help? Let's test and play with it. And that's how we built it.
Yeah.
And the other one is very simple. Again, as head of TA, I've got about 18 locations I recruit into. And with all Eric and I were talking beforehand about the return to the office stuff. People don't like traveling and all the rest of it. So I want to know really within an hour's circumference of any of my locations, traveling hour, that is, that's really my target audience now for probably 95%, a little bit of transients for the next 5 years. So I want to know absolutely everything I can around a location.
Mm.
So we fed this census data, ONS data, LinkedIn Talent Insights data, salary surveys, local data, council data, and we've put loads
Mm.
of stuff into this. So then all we've got to do is, again, we open the tool up, same thing on Mind Studio, and you say, right, I'm going to start with a location, so Manchester. So then it produces you a one, sort of like a one pager snapshot of Manchester as it is today, because it's got some news feeds in. So, and what the talent marketplace is like. And
Mhm.
then you use it exactly you would like ChatGPT or any generative AI. You can then question it about anything, whether you want to know what the salaries are for data analysts in the area, who's recruiting, who's not recruiting, how to pitch them, the school ages. I mean, a big thing for us for outreach is is qualifying the school ages between from, well, I suppose pre GCSEs, GCSEs right through to pre and post degrees, so we can
Yeah.
try and influence them as an employer of choice.
Yeah.
So that's the other tool we built, which again is proving incredibly interesting for a number of different people, for not just talent either. Our estates departments, for example, across the civil service they've developed a very strong interest in this product because suddenly they can start to see the location, what the demographic
Yeah.
is, but that was built as a time saver. So the goal for that one is, how do I find this information out? We've got
Yes.
LinkedIn Talent Insights and they're fantastic, but how do we link A with B with C? And that was taking a lot of time to answer some
Mhm.
basic questions. And so we've got time saver problem solved there, and hiring manager problem solved there. And then the big one, guess what the big one is next? Come on, see if you can. I bet you can guess
Oh
the
gosh.
biggest issue for
Skill
AI for
mapping,
the moment.
future skills, something like that.
Selection,
Oh,
interview,
okay.
candidates applying for jobs.
Okay.
So how do you, if you normally get 50 applicants for a job, it might be more, might be less, and obviously you've
So
got to go
you're
through every
saying
one of
more the
those.
sifting and the
The
shortlisting and
sifting, the
that kind of stuff.
selection, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So what happens then if you get 3,000? How
Mm.
much more time is that going to take, and how many more people, are really not going to give them, care too much about it? So quality of sifting goes down because of
I
the
was going to say
scale.
human error, right? And the time and effort put into
Yeah,
that is a big deal. Yeah, you could be missing
and
some real gems there.
desire as well, because quite honestly, looking through 500 CVs is it's painful. So
Yeah.
we're in the process of building a tool at the moment to see how we can help those hiring managers who get those applications to use AI, which in theory is very simple. And we built a very simplified tool. You have a job spec, you have the essential criteria, and you have, so that's your set point, and then
Yeah.
you feed it CV, anonymized CVs.
Yeah.
straight in, and then out you merit list it at the other end. Not
Yeah.
quite as easy as that, but that's the simple version. So we're
Mhm.
working on that. So again, we had a tax grad campaign a couple of months, 3 months ago. We normally get about 12, 13,000 applicants. We had 22,000 this year.
Wow.
So
Gosh,
it's a
a
genuine,
lot.
again, so it's a tool that, we really need to get, and obviously then we need to bring in unconscious bias and, all that stuff that we need
Mhm.
to build in so that we get the pure answer out the other end.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next biggest one we're working on, which again is to solve the time problem.
Yeah. And like you said, not just the time problem, but it's the time quality cost triangle, isn't it? That we can normally get two out of the three.
Yeah,
But is this going to allow us to get three out of the three, perhaps in terms of using Gen AI as that colleague, co-pilot, support, whatever terminology you want to use with that? And also what was going through my head, Andy, when you were talking there as well, is also not only are the managers saving time, quality costs, whatever it might be, but they're subconsciously they're learning how to use Gen AI and getting their mindset in the right place without having to go on that big training course or it's
yeah,
the flow. That's typical flow of work stuff, isn't it? Which is perfect. So
it is, and you
um
learn that way, and that's the way you
yes,
learn. And the other
exactly.
thing I meant to say is the hiring manager one, which is we're really keen on, is everybody listening to this will know a hiring manager that does this. Every organization, they go to hire someone, so they go to the bottom drawer on the left hand side, they get out the CV or the job spec that they've used for the last 5 hires, and then they just probably might tweak it, chuck it online, and they think that's fine. What AI does, it negates that by making sure that the wording is current, the skills are current for a particular job, the language is current because it's obviously searching not just ours but externally as well about all the other job specs in that space and what they're talking about and how they're framing it. So you get a much more modern output that is going to work with the target audience more so
Yeah,
than a job spec that's got wording and style of wording that might be 4, 5, 6, or even longer years old. And
yeah.
that's another goal that we try to do. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, but it's all good fun. And you're right, we are doing things that others aren't, and we'll continue to do things that others aren't. We're not going to stop.
I just think this is in your DNA, Andy, isn't it? That entrepreneurial challenge, push the boundaries. I think we're uh, quite akin to that. And the one thing that I loved, we're going to start to wrap up here, and you've shared so many amazing tips and tricks, and it's such a fantastic case study. One of the things that I noticed that you shared on LinkedIn recently was your activity around jam and cream on the scone, and I'm going to put it on the screen in a minute, that you shared on LinkedIn. Do you want to just share kind of why did you use a
Yeah.
scone jam and cream analogy?
Okay.
While you're doing that, I'll get it up on the screen.
Yeah. So I use this in every training presentation I do, and the concept here is very simple.
Mhm.
Is that for those of you who don't know, this is to show of how clever AI is, generative AI is, and you can actually have a meeting with yourself, a load of other people using generative AI, and it will talk to itself. So you basically create a meeting with different personas of people attending that meeting, and then basically tell it to have the meeting, and it will talk to each other. So just to prove the point, just to prove the point, Rebecca's laughing because she's
I
done
love
this, I'm
it. I
sure,
love it.
was to say, right, there is the scone question. So Cornwall, Devon, jam on the scone first or cream
Yep.
on the scone
And
first down
I'm
the
from
other.
Devon, but I'm born in Cornwall, so I'm split on this, but I've got a view.
So this was it. So this was the prompt you can see here. So set the scene. You're going to go up a bit further
Yep.
on the
I'll
thing.
scroll
Yeah.
up. Yep.
So this is basically what I do. So I've given it the prompt. You're going to act as a group of different characters engaging in discussion, and that's the prompt. So I'm sure it's there. And then we go, you specify what the people in the meeting are. So you can see the foodie person from Cornwall, one from Devon. Didn't do. I should have done one in between, Erica, for you, shouldn't I? See what that would have said. And then you have a
Hybrid.
facilitate. Then you have a facilitator for the debate, and that's important because they're the ones that ultimately will come back. And then you can see there the rest of that. Um, at the end, the facilitator will create a bullet list overview of the key findings of the discussion. Now you can cut and paste this out and you can insert any one of your combinations. And I've tried this numerous times in a work environment, and it's, this is about the scone, but this is to make a point. But if you've got a problem to solve at work, in whatever it may be, instead of getting a stakeholder workshop together, try this, because this, we all know the content that ChatGPT and others have access to is a phenomenal amount of information. There isn't anything you're doing in your workspace that probably hasn't already been covered somewhere in the world. So get yourself a little workshop set up, create 4 or 5 people, maybe for the next meeting you're going to, like a strategic workforce planning or a future talent acquisition meeting or strategy. Try and create some personas and set it up, and you can literally cut and paste the top half of this prompt or the prompt
Go
in,
back to
and
it.
just insert things in, the people you want,
Yeah.
and just see what comes out.
Yeah.
You'll be really surprised with the depth. And we've done this with a couple of pre-meets. We've done it knowing we're going to a meeting with the same subject.
Yeah.
Put those personas in, and then like played the game afterwards, the bingo game. And
Yeah.
it is amazing how many of the things that come out during the course of the meeting, if you've got personas of the right
It's
job
such a
titles rather than
such a good
individuals.
idea. Such a good idea. I mean, one of the things I use it for is if I need to make a decision on X. This is where I think I'm leaning. I want you to play devil's advocate to that decision. But this is a build on that. This is like your prep for your next exec meeting where you're going to get a hard time on budget or, whatever it might be. It really gives you that mental preparation and that cognitive practice
Yeah,
to get ready rather than just coming in and facing those challenges for the first time. So I think this is such a good tool, and I just love the fact that you've used the scone analogy as well. So brilliant, Andy. Like I could talk to you for hours. Because I just love the take that you've got on using this stuff, and I just wish more business leaders would be thinking in this creative, curious hearts and minds, skills and creativity way. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
absolute pleasure, no problem at all.
Right.
And
Well,
which one
thank
do
you.
you do? Do you do jam or cream? Come
So,
on,
so,
you've got
so
to
as
share now.
so your cards. So as a Devonian, we replaced the butter for the cream. So it makes sense to have cream first and then jam on top. As a Cornish pixie, it's the other way around. It's the jam first and
Yeah.
then the cream on top. So I don't know. I mean, someone who's had gastric bypass, I can't eat a lot of sugar anyway, so I don't eat jam. So it makes the whole thing a mute point. But how about you? Which way would you lean on
Jam.
it, or
I'm
do you not?
Cornish. No. I'm jam first, cream on top every
Yeah,
time. So
there
I'm
you go.
Cornish. Yeah. There you go.
The
Yeah.
ongoing debate will continue. Andy, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching season 2, episode 10 of AI for the Average Joe. Perhaps we'll see you on another episode soon. Andy, if people want to connect with you, get in touch, want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably the best is connect on LinkedIn. So it's just Andy Headworth, linkedin.com/in/Andy Headworth, or just search me. You'll find me easy enough, and we'll
Brilliant.
connect there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for engaging and connecting. And we'll see you again talking about AI and future skills soon.